hello there. Yes, well, yes, we're just a few hours away from an enormous stock market crash around the world. Yes, they do tend to set off very interesting things, don't they? Big stock market crashes. You may think of, well, some in your lifetime or some in your parents' or grandparents' lifetime, and gosh, don't they just always bring good news. But one of the things, well, amongst the many things that have been intriguing me this weekend is the British libertarian right, of which basically our entire media class are these people. The people that believe earnestly that freedom is economic. And they have been telling us for a very, as in like basically 2/3 of my lifetime, that there are certain tenets that one simply must obey. That in order to achieve this freedom, this market freedom, which inevitably will bring democratic freedom, because after all, free trade, for example, brings about democracy, as sure as night follows day. So, what exactly is going on vis-a-vis tariffs? Because, you see, idiots like me have been arguing here and often being shot down by, people that really know about these things, suggesting that, in fact, modern capitalism exists absolutely at its best when it has totally captured the state, be that in fascism or fascism-adjacent governments, or at least governments that pretend that they're not that fascist, but are quite happy to sort of pass on from one bland Starmer type to another. So here we are with these people, and the fine example was Tim Stanley in the Telegraph yesterday, who was, of course, arguing that, of course, tariffs are a brilliantly good idea because they just are brilliant. Yes, because, free trade is just overrated. Well, I thought it was the thing that made everybody rich and had to be protected, a la Adam Smith, be it Institute or not. Well, no, of course not, because, of course, the Adam Smith Institute will be very keen on tariffs as well. Meanwhile, us, idiots, of course, having been sold Brexit, will sit outside of the sort of protective ring of the European Union, and will probably have to send the king and various royals over to butter up to the American leader, who meanwhile, of course, is making sure that everything's going to go fine, because after all, having been voted in to make sure the price of eggs go down, it'll probably be one of the few things that might actually been relatively unaffected. If you're going to go into a trade war with Canada and Mexico, you can do, but it's not going to affect Donald Trump and it's not going to affect Elon Musk. However, you can presumably persuade people that magically the evil Canadians are drug runners, utilising I don't know, sorry, I've got to laugh. Utilising Chinese ingredients, because the phenol crisis was entirely of foreigners' makings. I don't know how you can say those kind of things with a straight face. But of course, the American rich will become very rich. All those people currently hedging their bets, quite literally, on the American stock market crash will be doing very, very nicely. And various people at the upper echelons of American government, having basically bought the presidency, will make sure it pays over and over again. I mean, it has paid very nicely anyway, but, somehow $400 billion just isn't enough. Meanwhile, again, our political class, in particular those very nasty voices on the right and the libertarian right, will completely change their minds. They really won't mind anything that Donald Trump does, because it'll still mean freedom. It'll still mean freedom. After all, these are people that do get very, very upset if one of the Israeli hostages looks a bit unhappy, but somehow, magically, cannot seem to see the pile of bodies behind them. Anyway, long may they reign, although I have a feeling it won't be for very long, because unfortunately, I think the mob is stirring. And don't forget, we've still got that Luigi trial to come up. And I'm not suggesting that's a great example of a potential way forwards, but I know a lot of people will be thinking that. Anyway, do have a glorious Monday. Do enjoy the economic news and expect to become a lot less egg happy over the next few weeks. Yes, delightful.